Hi, welcome to the Retro Shed. I wanted to talk to you about a movie today. My favourite movie of all time, as some of you know, is Alien. But we're not talking about Alien today. We're talking about a movie that came out a few years later. Alien came out in 1979. But in 1984, a movie came out that absolutely blew me away. To this day, it's absolutely probably one of my favourite movies of all time. And the movie, of course, is Ghostbusters. And today in the shed, I have a very special guest. Thank you very much for coming and joining us today. This is really cool. Mark Feltwell from Worcester Ghostbusters.
Pleasure to be here, thank you.
I thought I'd invite him over to the shed today to talk about the movie and everything else Ghostbusters related, because it's really good timing, actually, when you think about it, because we're about to see a film that most of us have probably been wanting to see most of our lives. It's probably a bit of an exaggeration, but for a long time. So when you think about the 80s, we had films like Goonies, we had Gremlins, we had, Back to the Future, Top Gun, Lost Boys. There's loads in the 80s. I think
all the good ones.
Was one of the best decades for movies. Oh, Predator.
Oh yes.
Gotta be. Oh, I nearly forgot Predator there.
Batman.
Batman. Yeah. Well, Batman, is that the Tim Burton one?
Yeah, 89.
Was that 89?
It was.
God, I thought that was 1991.
Yeah.
No, you're right. It's 89.
Returns, I think it's 91.
Great movie.
Good movie.
Definitely one of the best, if not the definitive Batman movie is the Tim Burton one. Yeah, good point. In 1984, like I said, on a budget of 25 million, an amazing film was greenlit, and it was quite a tough journey actually to get this movie greenlit. I think most of it was the brainchild of Dan Aykroyd, whose family were actually into this stuff. They were actually into parapsychology. I think his grandfather or his father was actually, but he was into that sort of thing, wasn't he?
About it as well.
Yeah, mediumship and all that stuff. Yeah. So from a very early age, I think Dan had this idea in his head about writing a story about these guys that were almost exterminators that offered a service about going around and capturing ghosts, which is a bit outlandish, really, if you think about it.
No, we're exterminators. Somebody saw a cockroach up on 12.
It's a very, very special film indeed. I think you either love it or you're a bit indifferent about it.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone that hates the movie. No. I just know people that love it to bits or just go, oh yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. Everyone knows what it is.
Yeah. And it's definitely one of the biggest movies of the 80s. I think it defined the 80s. If I said to you, what images come into your head when I say 1980s? You're going to say...
No Ghost logo.
Yeah. Knight Rider.
Yeah. Spandex and leg warmers.
Tight fit. Lion Sleeps Tonight. Yeah.
Big hair, sunglasses.
Yeah. But Ghostbusters is definitely up there, isn't it? It's definitely one of those things that if you're fond of your 80s, stuff, movies, music, whatever, you think, Ghostbusters, it was brilliant. Yeah. The first time I ever saw anything to do with Ghostbusters was on a bus shelter. It would have been summer of 1984, and I was on my way to school in Kings Norton, and on the bus shelter was a black poster, and all it had on the poster was that ghost logo behind your head there, and it just said, in fact, I don't think it said anything, it was just that. No lettering, and I think it said Columbia Pictures in tiny, tiny lettering in the bottom left-hand corner. I thought, what is that? And I started seeing this logo everywhere, so it was probably the first viral marketing campaign that I'm aware of at 13 years of age. Yeah. And then about 6 weeks later, that poster disappeared, and there was another one of these three guys. I didn't know who they were. Looking up into this cloud with these what looked like guns in their hands. I thought, what is that? Ghostbusters. That was it. Yeah. Hooked. From Absolutely. The moment I saw that poster to the moment I saw the movie in December of 1984. That was it. One of my favourite movies of all time. So, tell us a bit about Worcester Ghostbusters. Where did the idea come from? What do you do?
Very little at the moment. It's just sort of a fledgling thing. Started in lockdown last year. So I moved into the area about 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. Obviously, always been a big Ghostbusters fan. Always been into the cosplay, that sort of stuff. Yeah. But I lived in Birmingham.
Okay, whereabouts?
In the centre, so sort of Moseley Way, Balsall Heath, and that sort of area. And I started the Birmingham Ghostbusters then. Didn't really do much, just had a Facebook page, put some stuff up on there, went to Comic Con occasionally. And then came over to Worcester and thought, I'll do the same again, but for Worcester Ghostbusters, because I had imagined there were a few more people in the area that had the same sort of taste to Ghostbusters as I did.
Is there?
Not at the moment.
Is there not?
Not at the moment.
Do you know what? That surprised me. To be fair, that does surprise me, actually. Well, you got me.
Yeah, that's it. That's great. So not many people on the same sort of level that they'll go into, like, building the props and that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But the hope is there that people will come out of the shadows, as it were.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you do? Do you go to conventions?
Yeah, conventions, that
events,
sort of thing. I've done a couple of charity events with other people. Just sort of turn up in the gear. But mostly just go as a Ghostbuster to Comic Con.
Yeah. So I think I found you through Instagram. So I love Ghostbusters. I love the equipment. I love the stuff. And I think I was scrolling through and I saw a picture of your. I think it was your proton pack.
Yeah.
And it's like Worcester. He's not far.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. Start following this guy. Yeah. That's where I found you from there. Really.
I think that's partly the reason why I started the Instagram and the Facebook page was because there wasn't anything around.
Yeah.
And it's sort of that hope that people sort of gravitate to it like you did.
Yeah. Absolutely. So you're yet to actually go to a 10-year-old's birthday party and be insulted with He-Man.
Absolutely.
Yes. If anyone ever says to you, "Do you want to do a birthday party?" No.
Seen that.
Who are you going to call? He-Man? Yeah, little bastards. One of those kids was actually Ivan. No, it was Jason Reitman.
Jason Reitman, yeah.
You know, my dad says you guys are full of crap. Jason.
Well, some people have trouble believing in the paranormal.
No, he just says you guys are full of crap, and that's why you went out of business.
How weird is that? He's now going on to direct the new film, but more about that in a bit. I was born in 1971. You were born a bit later than me. You were actually born after the movie was launched.
I was, yeah.
So I'm really interested. I mean, I was there like from the beginning and fell in love. So what's your earliest memories of Ghostbusters then, being born, 2 years after it was released?
Yeah, so 86 I was born, so when real Ghostbusters came out, so that's probably where
I started cartoon,
watching,
yeah.
It's probably where I started watching that, obviously not at the age of one, maybe a little bit later, but as far as I can remember, Ghostbusters has always been in my life. I've always had like the figures and that sort of thing. Some parents bought those. There are videos of me dressed up in a costume at about 4 years old.
Let's go to that now. Actually, no, Joe, we haven't got that. It's pity we haven't got that clip because I can put it in.
I wouldn't even know if my dad knows where that is. It's hidden. But at the age of 3, they gave me a Ghostbusters birthday party, so must have been introduced to it about that age.
That's brilliant.
I've hooked ever since.
Yeah. So when was the first time you saw the film?
It must have been around that sort of age. I mean, I always remember. Apparently, it was one of those VHS tapes that I always used to get out and put in myself. Oh,
okay, well, that could be really dodgy. Actually, I think some of the films that we found as kids at my mate's house. No.
What do you want to watch today, Mark?
What's on this? No, don't put that.
Yeah, don't do that one.
I think actually, funny you say that. I think we found American Werewolf in London at my mate's house, rummaging through these piles of VHSs. Scared the shit out of me. I must have been probably about 11 or 12 when I saw American Werewolf in London. Bloody hell. But do you know what? To be fair, Ghostbusters has its moments.
It does,
as a kid.
Yeah. Library Ghost.
The Library Ghost scared me.
Definitely. And the Terror Dogs are pretty scary as well.
I'm trying to think what else was there. But there were some moments in Ghostbusters as a 13-year-old. I thought the tension as well is ramping up, is it? Especially when they get, the beginning where the librarian is running, she's lost, panicking through the aisles, and she turns that corner and there's almighty blast of light on what sounds like some sort of demon. I was like, whoa.
So that's what people forget. It's not a kids' film.
No, it's a PG, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a PG, but it wasn't ever meant for kids. It was like, it's got adult jokes in there, it's got scary ghosts, but as soon as the cartoon came out, obviously they changed all that.
Yeah, absolutely, they did, yeah. Why do people love this movie so much? There's people all over the world that are really hardcore fans about certain. You've got Star Wars, you've got Star Trek. People are very, very passionate about certain films. What is it, would you say, about Ghostbusters that grips people to the point where they're quite passionate about it?
Yeah, you do get people. We've seen in the last few years, people can get really passionate over something they love.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. But what is it?
I don't know. For me, it's the gear and that sort of thing. It's the sense of nostalgia. It's something that I've always known. So something I feel protective of, It's like,
it's funny you should say that. Yeah,
it's almost like a member of the family, almost.
Yeah.
But I think it's just one of those things that it was such a good film and gripped me at such a young age. It's like, why wouldn't I like it? Why wouldn't people like it?
I cast my mind back, and there was so much about it. I walked out of that cinema, and I was just like, wow, I just wanted to go straight back in. I did want to see it again, but my dad thought it was rubbish. But I wanted to go. It was an age thing, obviously. Yeah. I wanted to see it again, and for me, I think there's so many things about it that you cannot put your finger on, which is why I would not want to be in Jason Reitman's shoes right now, because that is that's no tall order to create a film that's going to appease everyone. But looking at the original, I fell in love with the tech straight away. The car, the tech, the proton packs, I was fascinated in, and we'll look at those in a bit because he's actually brought his with him. The proton pack, the neutrona one, it's actually not firing neutrons, I don't know why it's called the neutrona one. The particle thrower, all that gear fascinated me. How the trap works, I was just like, and the thing is with me, growing up, I had so many ghosts and UFO books. If you ever look at our ghost, if you ever look at our bookcase, there's a lot of paranormal stuff in there.
Yeah.
I've got almost every book. I've lapped up UFO books over the years, and I was quite heavily into the paranormal and ghosts growing up.
Yeah.
So the whole concept of being able to capture something that scientifically doesn't even exist fascinated me.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean,
I think it was the Cedric scene for me that encapsulated Ghostbusters, and it's exactly that. It's those three guys, catching ghosts, putting them in a trap, and I think from that, I've got an interest in the paranormal as well, but I'm a complete skeptic. Yeah, so I don't believe anything, but funny. I find it fascinating.
What? My wife was still in there. We went out for a curry last night, and she was talking about this viral video that's come out about these dogs in a cage barking, and it looks like one of them's yanked back by a poltergeist. Yeah. And I went, bullshit. Went, how can you say that? I said, because ghosts don't exist.
Yeah.
I'm a very techie, scientific, logical person. I know, in my heart, I know in my head. Right? I have loads of comments on this argument. Ghosts don't exist, right? They don't exist. There's no scientific evidence.
That's true. Yeah.
And Josh said to me, "Oh, what, you're saying UFOs do?" And I went, "UFOs do exist."
Yeah,
UFOs do exist. Almost every country in the world now. Even the Americans have now come forward and say, "Oh yeah, UFOs exist. We just don't know what they are."
It's what you define as a
so
UFO.
There's more,
isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So there's more scientific evidence for UFOs. And if I throw something across the garden in the sky and you don't know what it is, that's a UFO.
Exactly.
So there you go. They do exist. Yeah. That's like saying cars don't exist. Yeah, they do.
They don't have to be alien.
No, exactly.
UFOs. Yeah.
But ghosts, there is no scientific evidence, right?
Yeah.
But of course, I came out of that cinema and I thought, what the hell was it with that gear? You know, they walk into the Sedgwick lobby and I thought, what's on their backs? Because we weren't introduced to this gear.
No.
They just rock up and they've got all this gear on and they do look like, rent-a-kill guys. You think, what is that? What is that on his back? And the lift scene, when they power it up, that sound.
Yep. Let's get ready. Switch me on.
I think it's my favourite sound in the world. That firing up sends shivers down. I thought, wow. Yeah. And when he said we're all wearing unlicensed nuclear accelerators, I thought, they're going to have somebody's eye out with that if they're not careful. And if you think about it,
do as well.
If the Ghostbusters are real, you'd never get insured for it. Could you imagine you're insured? Well, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to go into somebody's house and I'm going to blast the shit out of the place with a concentrated stream of proton. I'm going to get set fire to stuff.
Yeah.
I might kill someone if they're in the way. And it's like, I don't think we're going to get insurance for this franchise somehow. But
you might have the EPA on your back as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think you'd be arrested pretty quickly, wouldn't you? You've got a cyclotron on the back with fissionable materials in it. Yeah. Many people reckon Ghostbusters is lightning in a bottle. That's what it's been referred to as quite a few times, and I tend to agree with that. In that, the writing of it, you've got Dan Aykroyd, who was brought up with all this weird stuff. He's there's magazines lying around the house with American, paranormal stuff in it, and he wrote this script. And when you watch the movie, it's quite obvious that they are friends outside of the movie. They just click and the script just flows. There's an awful lot of ad-libbing as well.
Loads.
And I don't know whether a movie today, a new Ghostbusters movie, could capture that. Perhaps they can't. Perhaps that was a one-off.
Yeah. And I'm hoping that they don't, really, in this new one.
Yeah, do you think that'd be trying too hard?
I think it'd be trying too hard. I think if what I'm gathering for what I've seen is they're trying to catch the mood and the tone of the film, but not necessarily that same sort of lightning in the bottle.
Okay,
a different lightning in the bottle maybe.
So you've seen the first one.
Yeah.
You saw the second one. I remember going to the cinema in 1989 to see the second one, and I came out of there buzzing. That was quite a delayed film. They wanted to do the second one before 1989, but I think there were problems with crew, cast, and a story. They didn't have a story.
Well.
Yeah, with Bill as well. Yeah, problems with Bill Murray. And I remember coming out there and thinking, it was good, but I think the whole thing with the Statue of Liberty
Yeah.
Really, really silly. And people say, yeah, but it's a silly film. It's supposed to be a silly film. But I thought, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think they tried to. They did the Stay Puft thing again, didn't they?
Yeah.
But that is a silly concept. I mean, Ivan Reitman didn't think that was going to work.
Massive marshmallow? Yeah, I suppose it is, really.
It is.
Not every. There's something you don't see every day.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's not something. And they tried to do that. I think what I've seen with a couple of Dan Aykroyd films, I think Blues Brothers is another one.
Yeah.
If you've watched Blues Brothers 2000, it's basically tried to rewrite the first film or do the same things, hit the same beats. And I think that's what they tried to do with the second.
I think Hollywood
film.
does that quite often, though, doesn't it? It's like
and it's a hit and miss.
Like I said, was on about it earlier. Predator, amazing film. I think Predator is probably Arnie's greatest film. I love it. I think it's brilliant. And yeah, Predator 2, which was is okay. And then you had, was it Predators? It came out in 2010, which kind of they tried to take it back. To what didn't work.
No,
it's a very difficult film to watch. It's poorly scripted. It's bad. It's just awful.
Yeah.
Which leads me nicely on, because something happened in 2016.
Yeah.
And Sony, well, I think a number of things happened in 2016. I think Sony Studios came to the realization that they weren't going to get a Ghostbusters 3 as such, because there was too many fallouts, there was too many problems with script. I can't remember if Harold Ramis died by then, bless his cottons, which affected me quite deeply, actually. I was quite sad about that. And then 2016, they announced this movie called Ghostbusters, which I got very excited about. I thought, this is interesting. And I saw the trailer and I thought, And then the film came out, and I looked at a couple of the reviews, and it got absolutely panned to death. I thought, no, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna try. I lasted 30 minutes.
Did you?
I lasted 30 minutes, and I turned it off. And before all the all the comments, I can't stand Ghostbusters 2016. Right? I don't like it. Why don't I like it? Because it's a bad movie. It's got nothing to do with the all-female cast. It's got nothing to do with the fact that it's a reboot. I just think it doesn't work. For me, it doesn't work at all. What do you think of it?
It doesn't. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's anywhere near as good as it could have been, or anywhere near as good as Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
I mean, I have watched it. A few
I've watched it now.
times.
I've watched it twice all the way through now.
I quite happily sit there and watch it and enjoy it for what it is. I don't try and sort of compare it to anything else, because it's not a great film compared to everything else that's out there. I enjoy it for the tech. I love the look of the Proton Pack when it came out. I thought that's a nifty take on it. I like some of the comedy. The bits I don't like, I think it's a little bit forced with the comedy, because it's a lot of improv.
It's how it feels, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think some of it doesn't feel grounded enough, because there's been a lot of improv. There's clearly a lot of editing to get that together. And for me, that's where it falls down.
It was trying really hard to be funny, but again, it could be an age thing. So I'm old and grumpy, but I was like, it's just not funny,
I didn't get Rowan. I didn't get Rowan. It's a guy that sort of didn't like anything, and then he becomes moogly at the end. Which is basically Stay Puft. But and other things that that I thought were a little bit cheap, like Mrs. Slimer. It was great for Robin Shelby, who played Slimer in Ghostbusters 2, but it didn't make any sense in the film.
No. We're just about to see a new, I was going to say proper Ghostbusters film.
a new Ghostbusters.
That's a Freudian slip. We're going to see a new Ghostbusters film.
Yeah.
What are your hopes for this movie? I think they're going to be if they're like mine, they're going to be really, really high.
They are,
and I don't want to be disappointed either. That's the problem.
No, I'm trying my best not to get my hopes up. I'm not because I'm going to assume it's a bad film, because I want to be able to, because I've never been able to see Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2 at the cinema for the first time. Right. And the first time I went to see Ghostbusters was on a rerun when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
So I've never been able to experience that for the first time at the cinema. So I'm trying not to. I mean, I've watched the trailers, I've watched what's been on, but for spoilers, I'm trying not to see them.
Yeah, I know. You shouldn't watch the trailer, should you? Really?
No.
I'm hoping. I really am hoping that it doesn't just play to all the fans in that we want to see Ecto, we want to see Proton Packs, we want to see all this gear. I just hope it's a damn good film.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting concept, because Jason's always gone on about this 12-year-old girl who finds a Proton Pack.
Yeah.
Which is, that appeals to
Is that supposed to be Egon's granddaughter?
Yeah. That appeals to everyone who has watched the film at a young age.
I know.
You've always wanted to find a Proton Pack and then fire it up. So I think from that point of view, we're all like, we're all going to be Phoebe with this proton pack. So it'd be interesting to see how, once that happens, what unfolds around her.
It'd be like giving a baby a box of matches, though, wouldn't it? Really, it's like I think we've waited a long time for this movie.
Yeah.
And like I said, I would not want to be in Jason Reitman's shoes. There's so much. I think there's so much pressure on him, but I think he has his dad was on the set most of the time anyway.
Yeah.
So his dad was probably tapping him on the shoulder saying, "Don't do it like that. Do it like this. Like, shut up and make me make this film. Let me make this film."
Apparently, it got very heated.
Did it?
Well, because they're both passionate, aren't they? Ivan Reitman is like
it's
the
his
Godfather.
baby, isn't it? I suppose. Yeah.
So they're both passionate for they're both passionate for the same thing, which is good. You've got two people that are trying to fight for the best.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. And the original cast are actually in it, I think, aren't they? They do cameos in it. So we don't know what yet. We've not seen that. I've seen Janine.
Yes,
I've seen a very, very brief clip of Janine in it. So it'd be interesting to see what the others do. I noticed something. You went to see Dan Aykroyd's Proton Pack. Was it last weekend?
Yes, a few weekends ago.
Tell me about it.
In Milton Keynes, they've got a new sci-fi film museum that they've opened up.
Okay, is it permanently there?
Yeah, as far as I know.
Is it travelling around?
No, it's not travelling. They've opened this up. It's not a massive thing, but it's big enough for what
you know where I'm going.
Yeah.
You can't photograph, can you?
No, although I did.
Well done.
Yeah. So I think this time last year they posted some like teaser things, like we're opening this thing up.
Yeah.
And then sort of around January sort of time they posted a photo of Dan Aykroyd's Proton Pack, and this will be on
from the first movie.
It's the same Proton Pack as from the first and the second movie.
Right. Okay.
So they took the heroes and they redid them for the second film, then made some other ones which were slightly lighter.
Yeah, that foam ones I think I read was somewhere. Yeah.
So this one has it's owned by someone in the UK, which is why it's here.
Okay.
And I believe there's been some repair work done on it as well. So it's not completely correct to how it was in the second film.
What was it like standing there? And
it was great. I stood there for a good half an hour, I think, just looking at it.
Yeah, you're a proper geek. Yeah, I like that. That's what I'd do.
Well,
you go and have a wander around. I'm just going to look at this room.
Absolutely. I was looking. Luckily, it wasn't very busy, so I just wandered around. It's sort of on the end of the wall. You walk into this room, it's there. So I just stood there for ages, looking around this glass case, looking at every little nook and cranny that I wasn't able to look at on photos and references from when I was building my own.
Why don't they let you photograph it?
They don't let you photo anything in there. I think it's just one of those policies. You can't video or film.
That's such a shame, though, isn't it? Really, because the fans will want to go and see this stuff, and I suppose I don't understand that. You can't photograph it.
It's weird. I mean, some people think it's because it deteriorates these things, but they're under lights anyway. So I don't know. But yeah, I got around that by making sure there was no one around when I took a photo.
Got to have a look at that place. Got to go there.
Yeah, it's good.
So you've brought your gear with you today.
I have,
and I cannot wait to get there. You've got to say this stuff honestly. What made you want to build that stuff? I know what you're going to say because it's probably the same answer as me.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Why go down that road of collecting and building all this gear?
Why? For having it, for having something that's from a film, So it started off from a young age. I'm pretty sure every Ghostbusters fan has tried to build their own Proton Pack out of a cardboard box and a bottle and a piece of string. Which was my first Proton Pack. It was a Frosted cereal box and a lemonade bottle.
Is there a photo of it anyway?
No, there isn't. And I had the Kenner stuff as well. I was very fortunate.
That's worth a bit now, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't have it anymore.
That's worth a bit. I've seen some of that Kenner stuff, and it's worth a bit.
I was at Comic-Con a few weeks ago, and there was, I think it was 250 quid for for a boxed one. Which isn't too much money when you think about it.
More than that, actually. That's not too bad.
I did consider diving into money. I thought, no, we've got nowhere to put one. But yeah, it's owning a for now. Now I like building. I've always liked building props and like building stuff from film. So I've got a couple of things like I've got lightsabers and I've got stuff from Doctor Who and that sort of thing that I've built. But Ghostbusters is the one. There's so much gear to build. There's so much you can do. And now with the internet being as populated as it is with loads of stuff, people know what things are made from. Yeah.
And that's a very good point, because I remember seeing the movie and thinking, I want to have a look at that gear. And there was no internet in 1984. There was nothing in any magazines. There was that fake Omni magazine cover, which I've got. Actually, I've printed off. It's in my office. But there was no way to get a good close-up look at this thing, apart from hit the pause button on the VHS.
Yeah.
It's like the bit where they roll the trap across the floor.
That's
for the first time. Pause, look at it. It's like, what is that? Oh, okay, it's got a resistor on the side, it's got a heatsink on the side. And I just wanted to, I don't know, eat up as much information as I could. And there was no toys.
No.
You know, back in the 80s, nobody thought, do you know what, the kids will go mad for this. Let's release some Ghostbusters stuff. There was nothing, I don't think.
2 years later, isn't it?
Yeah. When the real Ghostbusters came out, I remember there were some toys to do with that. I remember merchandising for the movie. You could get boxes of Shreddies with Ghostbusters stickers in.
Yeah.
I hate Shreddies. It's like eating dry horse manure. It's horrible stuff. But I remember Mum saying, "Dad, can you get me some Shreddies?" You don't like Shreddies, son. Yeah, I know, but there's Ghostbusters stickers, and I want the Ghostbusters. And I was like forcing myself to eat this stuff.
Hologram on one point as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think I remember having one of those. My dad builds a load of stuff. That's probably where I get it from. And I remember him coming back from work, and he built me the ghost trap. And he did exactly the same thing. He paused the videotape that he filmed off the TV, recorded off the TV, and he built, nothing like. If I looked at it now, I haven't. It's been demolished and got rid of for years now. But my memory of it is exactly how it was in the film.
Really?
Yeah.
That is brilliant.
Even opened up and had light inside as well.
What?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I think it's time we took a look at some of your Ghostbusters gear. Can't wait to have a look at that.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so what are we going to look at first? Show us what you got.
Well, I've brought me base costume, so...
Nice.
So we've got here... I'll explain what that is.
Isn't that a urine tube?
Apparently so.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, I didn't believe that when I first read it. It's in case they pee themselves.
So, yeah, I mean, in the Ghostbusters world, it's not something we tend to know what it is. It's just... Because these are Air Force flight suits...
Is that what they are?
That's what they are. So that's what we've got there with the name tag.
That is really cool. Love the logo. I love the font.
Yeah.
Don't know what font it is. I just like it.
You got your No Ghost logo, and then because I'm a franchise,
of course,
Worcester Ghostbusters logo right there
with a pear in it. Yeah, I like that.
So the pea hose. As
it's a pea hose, isn't it?
Goes in there.
Yeah, I did read this. And do you remember? I remember watching the movie and thinking, that looks like some kind of catheter chip, almost like some kind of, pee tube or something like that. But I did hear in an interview that in case they wet themselves...
I don't think it's ever used like that. Because these have a very convenient zip at the bottom, so you can go to the toilet.
You can go to the toilet, in the middle of chasing something,
And then we've got... the arm pads that go on, in case you fall over, as Peter Bateman does when he gets slimed.
Yeah, absolutely, and when Gozer lets rip as well. So.
So it's obviously
hanging off the edge of a building.
Yeah, you only ever fall backwards because you put them pack on, haven't you? So you're top heavy.
Yeah, that's true. That is. Yeah. I recognise that.
Let's turn that noise off. There you go. So. This is my PK meter.
Buried the needle, apparently.
Yes. This is the Matty Collector one, which is great. It's not 100% accurate, but it's
but it's very nice, isn't
it?
It's a very, very nice prop indeed. I remember seeing these for sale for the first time and thinking, why the hell do we not get this stuff in the UK? Because they were only ever sold in the States, weren't they?
That's right. You couldn't get them over. So I went on Matty Collector for quite a while, and there were certain things that they would allow you to get over in the UK, but this wasn't one of them. So fortunately, someone clubbed together to buy a few and bring them over, and this was one of them.
That is really, really nice. It does all sorts of funny things. It does different things, doesn't it?
So it's got the Ghostbusters 1 mode, which was that one. So it does the bar graph that way, and the lights in a different orientation, and then Ghostbusters 2 mode. And also the little dial on the back, which mimics the dial that's in the film. In the library ghost scene, you can see Harold Ramis.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And that makes the lights quicker.
And that, of course, in real life, is an Iona shoe polisher, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's a bright red thing.
It's a shoe polisher.
I mean, how anyone took that and thought, I know, I'll...
let's turn that into a prop. But do you know what? It's iconic. It is absolutely iconic. First scene is the library ghost, I think, isn't it? It's where you first see
thing
that.
you see,
yeah.
And it's been in other films as well, like Suburban Commando with Hulk Hogan and Christopher Lloyd. They use this prop for...
What do they use it for?
A detecting device. I can't remember a film now. There's another film. I want to say John Carpenter. I don't think it's John Carpenter, but it's another film. They use it as a communication device.
Wow.
Yeah. So he pops up occasionally in other places, but we all know it's
Yeah.
the big game.
Everybody needs one.
I like doing the thing with, so I've got this ghost detector thing. It doesn't matter as long as the wings don't open.
Yeah. Run away.
Okay, but that's fine. As long as they don't open all the way, then we're fine. Every good Ghostbuster has to have a utility belt. So this has a few things on it that not many people would notice, but they're in the film. So first one is the gizmo. Now this one has a little secret, if I can find it. There we go.
What does that do in the whole
Absolutely
Ghostbusters?
nothing. It just looks cool. Dan Aykroyd has said that it's like it's a protector sort of. It diffuses harmful ghost rays or whatever to stop.
I heard it was a fuse pack.
Yeah, it's
some
sort
kind
of
of fuse
ground you
pack.
from stuff.
And those look like proper old school
This is
fluorescent displays of some sort.
So the actual thing was built from a Sanyo calculator with these old school tubes on it. This isn't built from a Sanyo calculator, and the one in the film doesn't have lights either. So this isn't accurate to the film.
No, but it looks good, doesn't it?
It's accurate to the Ghostbusters video game.
Okay.
So the gizmo they used on the video game was modelled after this calculator, which is a Russian calculator. And I happened to find one for.
So is that a Russian calculator board as well? Is that the whole thing?
It's the whole thing. If you look underneath there, it's the whole board. This is exactly how it is. I just literally take that out of the box.
What calculator is that?
Tell
me afterwards if you don't know. But...
So then I've got my trap holster.
Yep.
That's just a bit of plywood and a 3D printed hook. That's all it is.
Oh, is it? That looks quite good, actually.
It's not. It doesn't need to be accurate because I put my trap on it and no one ever sees it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, so I like to have a hybrid between the films. And they didn't have these in Ghostbusters 1, but they had them in Ghostbusters 2. And this is a lifeguard, which the emergency services would have on. It'd be an alarm. So if they were stationary for any particular amount of time, it'd raise an alarm. So they have these in Ghostbusters 2. So this was made by the same guy that did my hose connector, Nicotron props. And it's an actual mould of an actual one. These are my Ecto goggles.
They're nice Ecto goggles.
These are completely 3D printed.
Really?
Yep.
That's brilliant.
So, again, found these files on Thingiverse.
What was the original made out of?
It was a military night vision goggles things.
Right.
So, and then these are two like Minimax camera lenses.
Okay. So,
it's not completely off the shelf.
Yeah.
But I believe they just took the lenses off, put this plate on with these two Miramax lenses, and off they go.
That looks brilliant.
So and then I just printed off these off a printer. You can get these online.
That's brilliant. So what does that do? Does it enhance? It enhances vision, doesn't it, of a paranormal entity of some sort?
There's the insides. I think we get a glimpse into what it does in the first film, don't we? Sort of.
Yeah.
It just allows you to detect.
And in the game as well, doesn't it? Allows you to detect stuff that you can't normally see. Yeah, that's brilliant.
This has got a little secret as well. If I push this button here, we've got some lights, and if I turn this dial, we've got this on the side here.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my god, look at that.
So this is my 3D printed ghost trap.
No.
Yeah.
Don't believe you.
All 3D printed. Again, if you look closely enough, you can see the print lines. But on Tested, they did this whole 3D printed ghost trap thing, and these are their files which you can get online. Some of these parts are from his website, his Etsy shop as well.
That is just superb, isn't it?
Also, it does another little trick as well when you're doing that. There you go. Actually, if you do that again, you can see, that animation it does. So all the bits on the side are real bits. That's a real resistor. Can't really get hold of that dial anymore.
Right, okay.
It's one of those bits and pieces that.
Do you know what? That looks like the dial off an old CB radio I used to have.
I was looking for something that looked like it could be part of the world. Yeah. And the theory behind it, with all the other stuff that you'll see on my Proton Pack later, is if there are bits that could fall off or break, I'll try and replace them with other real bits that would work. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be accurate in that sense. This front piece here comes off, and you're left with the outer casing, and you see that when they put the the trap in the...
And the outer casing is the bit that goes off for recharge, isn't it? And
yeah,
all goes into a bin, doesn't it, marked for recharge?
This has to recharge as well. So inside here, you can see the electronics. So this runs off a little Arduino board, which you can see right there.
Yeah.
So there's only one thing left now.
Yeah, and we need to take a look at this. This is the one bit of kit that got me so excited as a kid.
Yeah.
This is, I got to admit, this is a work of art. You've kicked it out the bloody park with this. Wow.
It's not taken that long, actually. I would say about 6 months. Working quite solidly sometimes.
So, go through what it's made. How's it made? What's it made of?
It's mostly resin. So this is from a brilliant kit maker called Ben of Kent.
Yeah.
So you just search Ben of Kent on Facebook or Instagram, you'll find him. And he's a really nice chap as well if you get to talk to him. He really likes to help people who are building stuff. You ask him a question, he'll send you a message pretty much straight away. And it's one of his kits, and there's varying different kits that he does. This is like one of the top end ones that you can get. So it's all resin parts that he's built and cast himself. And then that coupled with some real world parts, so real clip art valves here, metal parts which I've got off GB fans, other metal parts here as well, and a really nice light and sound kit that I've got off Facebook from a really good guy as well. I'm in awe.
Well, I'm speechless. That's my stomach, you can hear, actually. I'm speechless, yeah, because, as I said earlier, there was just no information on this thing.
No.
You know, growing up in the 80s, it was just like, what is that gear? What, I want to have a really good look at it. And you couldn't. There was nothing to look at.
No. And we haven't done the best bit yet.
Oh my God.
And that rumbles on your back.
Yeah. Well, it would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That moment in the movie, I think when they power it up for the first time, it's just... There's a cyclotron going there, look at that. I can't remember what that bar represents.
Power bar.
Is that a power bar?
Graph, yeah.
Definitely one of the most incredible things about the movie was the tech.
They could have just easily been a box.
Yeah, it could have been, I love the fact that it's designed to look like, Egon knocked this up in a garage. It's got the welds on it. It just sounds downright bloody dangerous, doesn't it? You would not want to, in the Ghostbusters universe, you'd want to be very careful messing about with this.
Show you the stuff on the one then.
Yeah, so look at that.
So real world weathering.
Yeah, but look at it. It just looks superb, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I love the bar graph on that as well.
And we've got the slow blow, which turns on as well.
What does that do? What's a slow blow?
Who knows? It lights this light up.
Yeah, I always wondered what that was.
It indicates slow blow. Actually, if you have a look, there's is it the Haynes manual, the Ecto 1 Haynes manual? It actually mentions the slow blow on there. And then this is the power on switch with the light.
Oh dear Lord. Yeah, that's an iconic sound, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to hold it myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got the fire button there, which I'll just stick the end out. There we go. And
lovely sound.
Yeah, I've actually got one here as well. That's the boson dart from the video. And then I'll just knock these down, we can get a vent. And it does light that up as well, so if I do that again, you'll see the end filter light up.
That's awesome, isn't it?
It's got various different incarnations. You can actually do all the video game sounds with this as well.
Yeah.
And the 2016 sounds. Let's just see if I can get that on now. So if I put slow blow on and then hit this button, you'll see it changes colour. So that's now the ice.
Oh, that's the ice. Yeah.
So I'll turn it on. Those blue in. And then we've got the slime one. So it's just all there, isn't it? Those sun darts.
Yeah, straight out the game.
Yeah. It's actually 2016 now.
Oh, it's a different sound for 2016.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's got one more trick as well,
Go
which
on
I
then.
love. So if I turn everything off,
Yep.
turn this on, and then push this button.
Oh, yes, yeah. And the lights go for it as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for bringing this gear over. It's been an absolute pleasure, actually. So, yeah. So you got a website? People can look at what you do.
Yeah, Instagram's probably the best. So Worcester Ghostbusters on Instagram.
Yeah.
If you go to worcesterghostbusters.co.uk or crossthestreams.co.uk, you can see all my links. Crossthestreams.co.uk. That's got links for everything.
Fabulous. Mark, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers.